Welcome to Power to the Flower. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I transplant last year's plants to prepare for this year's season. So these were my full sun wash bin containers from April 2021. They each contained a lime sweet potato vine. The Supertunia fuchsia is the hot pink colored plant. A zonal salmon geranium as the centerpiece. I also planted Supertunia latte, which was a white Supertunia, and then to compare, as a comparison plant, the red petunia in the back, which totally got lost as time went by. So those wash bins were full sun plants. They eventually came up here on the patio where they got full sun throughout May, June, July, August, and September, and they bloomed their little hearts out. They loved this spot, and I loved them. They just exploded with the heat and light. They were gorgeous, and the sweet potato vine is an annual in our area, so it's done, but the geranium is an evergreen, and the Supertunia, as well as the Red Madness petunia, they are perennials and will be able to be kept for next season. So today on February 1st, the pot looks like this. This is the Supertunia fuchsia. This is the zonal salmon geranium. That was the Red Madness petunia. And then here's the old sweet potato vine. And in the back was the Supertunia latte right here. Okay, here's our second one. And this was the potato vine, which means this is the Supertunia fuchsia. This is the salmon geranium. This is the old, the red petunia, I think it was called Red Madness, and this is the Supertunia latte. So you can see the good news with all of these is they have a little bit of growth, so they are coming back. So this is super great news. Could I leave all of these plants inside of the wash bins and they'll grow for this season, 2022? Yes, I could. Everything would come back except for that sweet potato vine, and that would definitely be a good option. I want to move those wash bins back down to the garage. That's originally where I had them planned, and I have a new plan for the sun patio. So all of those full sun plants can no longer stay in those wash bins if they're going to be down by the garage, because that's going to be more shade than they need. This is the wall of our garage, and it's kind of a little microclimate. Not kind of, it is a little microclimate. What I've now learned, this is my fourth winter that I'm going through, is that during these winter months, this entire wall gets sun, a lot of sun. These are succulents, and then I have some succulents in that pot over there, and they love their winter life in this sun. And then in the summertime, it grows more and more shady until eventually in August it gets full shade all day long. These plants all love the sun, although I think I could keep the geranium in this situation because this pot will get filtered light through the hottest summer sun season. It won't bloom. The geraniums do need some sun for blooming, and so I do need to move it to a different location. It could be like a nice green ball of beautiful foliage, but I really want it to have the blooms. These Supertunias definitely need a ton of sun, so I'm moving them to the patio. Not Supertunia, just the regular Petunia Red Madness, I'm probably gonna toss. It was very cheap, and it did exactly what I told you guys about. It makes these kind of long octopus legs and then one flower kind of at the end of each leg, whereas these become huge balls, masses of beautiful, beautiful flowers. And then the potato vine is done. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this one together. I'll use my knife tool to make cuts through the soil around the root ball at a nice wide girth. Then I use my shovel to try and pop them out. You can see the potato vine got all up in here. It looks like the roots of the potato vine intertwined with the roots of the geranium. So I'm just gonna go through and remove the sweet potato. Potato vine. So I just go through in the same way and remove all of the plants that I want. Here's the Supertunia latte, and then the Supertunia fuchsia. I'm also just looking at the root system to make sure that it's strong and intact and removing any excess soil so it's easier for replanting. Same again. We're gonna let that fresh growth come. We're gonna eventually cut this all off, but for now I'm just gonna leave it and then replant it, and then we'll take care of that once the fresh growth gets really going. Everyone needs a place to dump their old soil. What I actually can do with that soil is go over there later and, you know, kind of pull out the worst of the roots and then mix it back in with new potting soil and compost and fertilizer and have some more soil. So I probably will do that, just not today. So I have a couple fun plants that I'm going to be putting in here. I think I'm going to put in 3 of these. This is called Heuchera rosata, which is an evergreen down to zone 7. It's hardy down to about 10 degrees Fahrenheit, and it sends up these beautiful pink blooms. And they really kind of come to their peak in the middle of summer. So hopefully that will start in spring and carry us into the summer with some beautiful pink blooms. I think it's going to go gorgeous with these begonia bulbs. Do you see all of the hot pink going on there? So I think this is going to look so good together. Begonias like shade, so do these heucheras, but I think they're going to do best in filtered shade, which this area is going to get. To get into the hot summer months, it will be protected by shade, but it does get a little bit of sun for a few hours, and I think these plants will do really well with that. The reason why I want this heuchera is because it's evergreen, and I had ferns here last year, which I've moved to a different location, but I loved their kind of calming green presence. And although I don't want to put ferns back over here, I thought it would be fun to have an evergreen with a little bit of a bloom. Then for my spiller, I have this evergreen Vinca Minor, which has a purple blossom in the spring. So you can actually see right here, it is just forming its first one. Do you see that? I love this plant. I'm imagining it's evergreen here in our zone 9 climate, some kind of restful spaces, especially in the winter, to have some evergreen color. Also to have some seasonal pink flowers, I think will be just really nice. I enjoyed that last year. I planted my ferns up with some just 6-pack cheap begonias. So this year I thought I would try these kind of bigger Picotee pink and white and rose form pink begonia planting bulbs. So we're down here, and so anytime in January through March we can plant these. They're from Costco, they're Longfield Gardens, and I think they are just going to be super fun, right? They say they get up to basically a foot tall and wide. So I think that should be good for planting with the heuchera. So let's do it. Slope potting soil. So inside of the Costco Longfield Picotee Pink begonias are 2 different begonias, nicely labeled. This is the dark pink, and that's the light pink. When you get your tuber, it looks like this, a concave like bowl, and then a convex dome. The dome sits on the soil. The bowl goes up towards the air. So I'm going to plant, and how deep do we need to plant them? It says 1 inch, not very deep. So I'm going to put 2 of each next to each other. So last year I did plant some begonias, and they didn't do so well because they broke. So they got a certain size and they all broke off. So that's why I'm going to plant a lot and have some insurance. So here's another one. And I'm also going to put some back here. Say that later on in the season I decide, ooh, these are just too close together. So I put 2 in the middle, 2 over there, 2 over here. I can always move them, dig them up and move them. That's gonna be my backup plan, if indeed they're too close. I don't know if I'm gonna love this. I might love it, I might not. If I don't, I'm gonna pull it out and put another heuchera right here. But I do love the purple blossoms in the spring, so let's give it a chance. All right, everything's all tucked into bed. We have 2 begonias, 2 begonias, 2 begonias, 2 begonias, and we'll see what happens. All right, so here we have our very simple winter planter, and I'll do the other one as well, but it will look the same, and I'll just show you some pictures. But you can see that's where 2 begonias are, 2 back there, 2 here, 2 here. We'll have this beautiful spilling vinca with some purple. These I'm anticipating will get big and kind of grow together. And I think this little sunny, warm microclimate will give it a good start. And then when it gets hot, it will just love the shade. So now we have everything potted up. Let me just clean up and I'll show you what it's gonna look like down here at the end. If you wanna know what I'm gonna do with these old plants, then tune in next week, because once I've taken the plants out of the pots, then it's great to recycle them if you're going to use them again, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. I post videos every Tuesday, but you can find me during the week on Instagram and Facebook. See you next time. Bye.